All right, guys, we are back for day 29 Go Live, and today we're talking about packing. So bring your questions, because some people here do want to use their donkeys for hunting or backcountry or just packing them for fun, or maybe the Leadville race. So some donkeys, they're never going to leave their property, and others are leaving all the time. There is no judgment here, but we want to talk today about using your donkey for packing or hunting, because we're here because we all love these long ears.
Right.
We do, totally, we do. All right, so this is something I don't normally talk about, hunting with donkeys, and right away, let me say this. This is not a hunting video. I'm not going to talk about anything graphic. And this is about donkey training. It's about donkey temperament, donkey's trust. So even if you've never hunted a day in your life, you're still going to get something out of this. Right, Dan?
Absolutely.
So Shamus's first backcountry trip, we had practiced like in the yard, around the house, and just putting a saddle on him and then a pack steer. We use the over the saddle panniers for packing. And we like those because they're versatile. You can ride your animal and then pack it.
And they're affordable too.
They are affordable.
Yeah, because most of you probably already have a saddle for your donkey or your mount. Yeah, so when it mounts over the saddle is pretty handy.
And like speaking of motivation, I put that in the description today with a link so you guys can check out the type of panniers that we're talking about. And we have them blaze orange, so when you're backcountry, people can tell that you are an equine and a person and
Yes.
good safety.
Yep, I love those blaze orange packs.
So the first time we brought Shamus backcountry, we were there with two brand new animals, two very green riders, and we had one little kid with us. Now, because we had the little kid with us, I was going to bring the kiddo somewhere that's more appropriate for the kiddo. So it was not as hard of a hunt for him. And it was just the kiddo and myself and Shamus, and then the rest of the gang went. So Hannah was on a mammoth donkey. Then there's a couple mules and one horse. Was it just one horse? No, there's two horses. Danny Boy, Stormy, whatever it was. So there was mules, horses, and donkeys. And so those guys went off on their own, and Dan will talk about the mammoth that Hannah was riding. But Shamus and I and Thomas, we went out, and because Shamus wasn't being rode, he was just getting conditioned. And I'm just trotting along. And when other horses would come up, I would stay way over to the side. So there's kind of like a wall, and I'm over by the side. And then it was kind of a big ditch going down. So I'm like trying to be really close up against the wall to help make sure that there's plenty of room for the horses to go by. And you know what these horses would do? They would flip out. Like I was worried that they were going to fall on the side of the mountain.
That was interesting to see all these quality horses ridden by seasoned backcountry people be horrified of a donkey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've got some opinions on that, but well, good thing it was only a donkey,
Yeah,
not an angry moose or a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can talk about that on a different live.
So we would just try to stay off to the side, and every time, and there was a lot of people coming by us with horses that they were going to their hunting spot, and they were terrified of Shamus. So Shamus had his little pack saddle on, the panniers over top, just getting used to being getting used to life and carrying, a little bit of stuff. I think we only had like rope in there for him or something.
It wasn't a lot. It wasn't much. No, it was just more the practice for having a pack on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And experiences. And then I didn't know if there's going to be anywhere up high to tie him, like any trees up high to tie him. So I tied him down at the base of the mountain. And oh my gosh, did he have a fit? You didn't get to see it. That donkey can double buck like he was kicking out with both hind legs.
Yeah.
And I just kind of ignored him, but I would watch him. So even once we got all the way up top, and there would have been somewhere to tie him to, but I would just walk back over and look to make sure he was okay and still there. And the other hunters in the camp that we didn't know, they thought he got loose and somebody else just tied him there, but that wasn't the case. I just tied him there because I didn't know where I was going to put him when I got up top. Now, Hannah was on a mammoth donkey that was brand new to her.
Yes, she was. Yeah, the group I went with. What we had? We had 2 mules, 2 horses, and Hannah's mammoth donkey. And we did get up in some higher country. And that little mammoth donkey wasn't little; he's pretty good size. But that donkey, he motored right along with everyone else. I think the one who struggled the most was I was riding a draft mule, Dixie, great big 16 to 1,800 pound behemoth. That mammoth donkey, I think was breathing a lot less harder than that mule was.
Isn't that
And
interesting?
yeah. So and his name was Polaris. Hannah's mammoth donkey named Polaris. He did a great job. He motored right along.
So he had no trouble, a donkey, keeping up on the trail with horses and mules. Shamus not trotted, but he went out on the trail just fine when we were hiking through the woods and the mountains.
Absolutely.
They had no trouble. Conditioning your donkey, though, is so big to help them be able to do that.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of fun in conditioning. Whatever the purpose of bringing your donkey into the backcountry is, getting prepared to do so is a lot of fun. It can be short little partial day trips. It can be overnight camping, having your new donkey carry very little or something meaningless of little value. Just have them go through the motions of carrying what they can carry.
For Shamus, we would put like empty water jugs in there. So it would be bulky, but it was not heavy.
We did do that. Yeah, he was packed wide but light. Yeah. Yep.
And we did a lot of that, packing him like that. So we would go into whatever camp we were going to be at. We would all load up our animals with their pack stuff. We didn't normally ride because we each had one.
Yeah.
So we would walk them in all packed up and then set up our camp. So he got lots of practice doing that around home and backcountry.
Yes, he did. He did lots of practice on both. It's a lot of fun having a donkey in your camp in the backcountry.
Totally. So it was not Shamus or the weather or the mountains that surprised me. It was definitely how afraid those other horses were. Like, they looked at Shamus like he was a bear on stilts. Like, they were just like, oh my gosh, we're gonna die. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are gonna fall off the side of the mountain. Oh, like,
Yeah, it was notable how terrified some of these horses were of a donkey.
so now fast forward multiple years, probably 7 years, and it was my dream to put a deer on the back of Shamus. So I got a deer, and Dan was not home, so me and my son, we got the deer on the back of Shamus. Now, here was the thing, guys. I never desensitized him to hides, or he'd never packed meat. He'd never done anything like that. And he did not care that I was putting a deer on the back of him at all.
Well, I got home and you were bringing that deer through, and that donkey. He could not be more proud.
He was proud.
He was a happy man. He's like, my mama's happy. I got something strange on my back, and life is good.
Right?
Yeah.
I was surprised. I didn't know what to expect, and it didn't matter. Like, I was just doing this, well, to feed our family, right? But putting it on Shamus's back was for fun. It was just a dream. So if it didn't work, it didn't matter. But he could care less. Now, that's like the big takeaway for this, guys. Trust. Shamus and I, at this point now, we have like 9 years of doing stuff together. So I ask him crazy questions. And then when I try to do something different with him, he's just like, oh, it's just mom doing something weird again. I'll be fine. She's not killed me yet.
Right? Yeah, I can trust her. Yeah, I'm still here. She's never hurt me. Yeah. That was really an amazing little adventure you had here, not too far from the house.
Right.
I mean, for those of you who know MaryJo, I guess, and she's not a tattoo person, but if she were, and she went into a tattoo parlor, even before this happened, it would have been her dream to show her leading Shamus out of the woods with a deer or an elk on his back.
I had it on my screensaver for a long time.
Yeah, and I came home, and that's exactly what she's doing. She's leading Shamus through the yard, carrying her next several months worth of dinner on his back. It was pretty cool.
Just got back from your own trip. He got home and the lights were all off on the house, and it was cold because I was out taking care of the deer.
Yeah, I get home and the house is dark. The barn light was on. I'm like, huh, wonder what's going on. I go in the house, it's cold. I mean, it was cold. I'm like, no one's been in here in hours. And as I do my detective work, putting things together, MaryJo came through the yard, leading Shamus with a deer on his back. And everyone was smiling. I think even Shamus was smiling.
I think he was.
Yeah, that was a really cool evening. Yes, no pun intended, because it was cold in the house.
It was cold. So if you're going to use your donkeys for packing, whether you're just getting them ready for like the Leadville race or to go on a camping trip, a lot of practice. I did a ton of of conditioning with Shamus. I used to walk him like a dog, and then I would saddle him and walk him like a dog with the dog. We would put big bulky things, but they didn't weigh a lot because we were conditioning him. So he had a lot of time, and getting them conditioned so that they can do all this stuff, it's priceless. The trust that you get from all these experiences is a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
What people don't really understand about donkeys is he didn't do any of this because he was desensitized. He just did it because he trusts. So, and you can't get that trust unless you start asking him questions. And you're going to fail sometimes, because I've made almost every mistake you could make with Shamus. That donkey, he's been through a lot of me learning.
He's been a great teacher donkey, isn't he?
He has been a great. And if you guys haven't already listened to the one I have that I talked about the podcast, it was Lost in Translation is the thumbnail. I'm a slow learner. All right. So really the big takeaways here is that trust is going to fill in the gaps. So it's not perfect, and you get that trust, and sometimes it's going to actually carry the whole load for you, because maybe you mess up on some training or you forget to desensitize, and it's just really going to help carry you. Trust is huge.
Yes, definitely.
Donkeys, they're not going to generalize things like horses. If they don't understand but they trust you, they're going to be willing to try just about anything.
Yep. Yeah, once you link up as a team and they know you're not going to get them killed, they have a strong curiosity, and they really have a good work ethic. They really like the feeling of a job well done, and that everyone is happy.
Now, you guys know we use a lot of treats and pay for the animals. Like, I'm not using that stuff with Shamus anymore. That's something I use for like gentling or helping to introduce something new. I remember when I would try to get Shamus to walk between two barrels. Do you remember that?
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, wow. I do remember that, and I'm just having a flashback to that. Go on.
2 barrels in the yard, just side by side, and maybe, I don't know, 4 feet between the barrels, and over an hour, and I still couldn't get him through the 2 barrels.
Literally, yes.
Coming crying, I'm never going to get this donkey to do anything.
Yes. I mean, yeah, break it down to that simple. It was 2 55-gallon barrels on end, just several feet apart. MaryJo would spend a lot of time just trying to get the donkey to go between those barrels while being led.
Yes.
That's how naive Shamus was.
He was not trained at all.
Yeah, and how naive we were.
We had no clue.
Yeah. It was good for the Kleenex company, because they sold some Kleenex on that one.
Right? Now, calmness is a donkey's superpower. So remember, when they get nervous, their go-to is freeze. Shamus is good at that. So they're going to stay grounded, stop, and they're going to assess things. And then if you have their trust, they're going to be okay with you leading them.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty huge with them. And you don't need hunting experience to learn from this. It doesn't matter if you're packing camping gear or the Leadville race or your snacks or your duffel bag.
And if you got some public land or your own land, wherever, it's a beautiful place, even if it's just an afternoon picnic, they can haul the bread and some beverages, a nice light pack. It's a lot of fun including them in an outing beyond an arena or the backyard, and go somewhere and do something meaningful.
Oh, I'm seeing notes. Stephen Adamski, I can't pronounce, Adamski. Backcountry Burro wisdom incoming. I'm here for it. Taking notes for future backcountry dreams.
Oh, love to hear it.
That's awesome. And then Fred's mom says, how are you grazing your donks out on the trip. I'm so worried about high grass sugar. This is interesting. So
That's a great question.
yeah, it is. So when we got Shamus, he came with Penny. So Penny was the mule that they said was bonded, and Penny had foundered before we got her so bad that she got X-rays, right? So we would go to a hunting camp, and it just happened to have a big old fenced area that we would let them all graze in, and
that-
she would get abscesses.
And that would backfire because it was up in early September, first frost, spring, sugar, grass. And so that did not work for us. What has worked for us, you're going to have to pack, if it's several days long, you're going to have to pack, practice packing some compressed bales with you. What we learned to like in the backcountry is a picket line, not a high line, a picket line. We're actually, I'm going to go up for a tangent on it because this is really cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, they actually make a picket line spike. It's about an 18-inch long spike with a swivel on the top. From that, you take you can use rope, or we like to use a light gauge chain. Go ahead and cut a hobble in half and attach that chain to one hobble. Okay, now you're gonna have to practice at home. Don't practice in the backcountry.
No.
You go ahead and put the hobble on one front leg and find an area where there's a little bit of grazing or no grazing, depending on how concerned you are about how much they can eat. Drive that spike into the ground, attach that to their front leg, that half a hobble, and lead them around a little bit. Let them know where the end of that chain is. And they're really, really good about just grazing in that circle.
And then you have to give them hay. So we bring compressed hay with us.
Yeah, compressed hay. And so, if you have an animal, whether a horse or a mule that you're comfortable with eating rich vegetation, just let them graze. If you have a donkey you don't want to get into that, just picket line them somewhere where there's very little grazing and go ahead and give them that compressed hay.
Now, when we first started using the picket lines, we were backcountry, right? And Hannah's horse, Roscoe, it was a Mustang. We didn't practice on it, and he was pretty chill with everything. It didn't work well, guys. He took off running, he broke it. So when we first started, we had a chain and then a rope attached, so they had a lot of distance. But what we found was that the rope would sit up high on the weeds, and we stopped using the rope.
Yeah, we started liking the chain. It's a light duty chain. We were much happier with that because that didn't seem to get tangled and get wrapped around weeds or anything like that. Yeah, when Roscoe was spooked, I think a combination of a door slammed, he farted, and the chain hit his ankle at the same time, and it was a perfect storm, and he ran off a short distance, and he was easy to get back. It was not a big deal.
Nobody was hurt.
But he, Hannah was a busy college student at the time, never had the chance to be properly exposed to a picket line, so it was kind of like it during his learning process. If you're going to go the picket line route, send us a message. We'll give you some more details. Practice in your yard.
Practice leading by a foot.
Yep.
Get them really used to that.
Yep. Get them used to that picket line in your yard, and you're going to thank us later when you go into backcountry.
And you can pack that stuff right in the panniers, guys. So
Yeah.
I love the picket lines. We should make a video later on about picket lines.
Yeah, and you don't need to have trees in the right spot to do the highline thing. You can do it 40 miles from a tree. And it works good. It works real good.
And if your donkey likes to untie himself like Shamus, you don't have to worry about that either.
Yes.
But it gives them freedom. They can lay down when they're hobbled, or it's not hobbling.
It's a picket line. They have one. You're going to sacrifice a set of hobbles. You're going to have one half of a hobble, one hobble on one leg, a front leg, and they will be able to graze. They'll be able to itch and scratch.
They can lay down.
They can. The big thing is, once they get comfortable, they can lay down. That's where what's different with a high line is they could lay down, but it's a little bit more difficult for them to lay down. So look into it, picket lining. The cavalry back in the horseback war days, where that was the soldier's mount, they used picket lines. They carried that little tiny spike. I remember when I was a kid, like, how'd they keep that horse there with that little tiny spike? Well, now that I know that it's attached to one front leg, as soon as they move forward, brings that front leg up, and they go ahead, they stop. So it does work really good.
But you have to, like, even though all of our animals are trained, all of our animals that we've had for a long time are trained to do this. Like, if we were to go out there tomorrow, because they haven't done it for a few years, we would reintroduce them. So we would attach the hobble to one leg, and then we would walk them in a circle, helping them hit the end of it, so that way they realize that they are confined, and that way we don't have a panic.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to be there to help them relax if they start to get nervous.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And this is different than a high line. So a high line you would put between two trees, and then they would be tied up above them. This is going into the ground.
Yep.
Picket line.
Yep.
I've seen some people do it from the halter. I don't think I would do it to the halter.
In my opinion, that's just more easy to get tangled up around their feet.
Yeah.
You know, the cavalry back in the 1800s, they survived. They lived and died by the picket line. And so, depending on your view of history, you live and die by the picket line, because there was no trees to tie them horses to out here in the prairie.
Right. Absolutely. If you guys have more questions, make sure you put them in here. But the picket line absolutely takes care of the eating too much grass and getting sick. And we did notice with Penny, that mule, when we stopped going back to that one spot where she had free access to grass, she stopped getting abscesses. It was really interesting.
It really was, yeah. And she was an abscess-prone mule, and back where we wanted to go hunting. I don't know why it existed, but on a little creek, there was about a 1 acre, 3-strand barbed wire fence put up by the Forest Service. I think it was to keep, I don't know the facts, but I believe it was to keep cattle from wallowing in the headwaters of a spring, which was a downstream, was eventually turned into a meaningful stream. And so we just used it. And it had great grazing in it, because the cows couldn't get to it. It was too great. And Penny had a history of foundering after staying there.
And she would get sick every year from it, until we realized we didn't even know until after we stopped hunting at that spot that that was the trigger.
Yep.
Now, Fred's mom just asked, what are we doing for a shelter? We don't do a shelter out there, guys. Now, donkeys, mules, horses, they are used to the cold. And if you watch when we get snow, how the snow stays on their back, like they'll have a snow blanket on and it doesn't melt. That's because they're so well insulated. Now, if you were out there backcountry and your animal was shivering, that's a sign that they're cold. But
You know, part of that question might also be, what if you're in the desert Southwest, where it's 114 degrees out in the open during a day? So what would you do for shelter then?
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I would maybe get water and.
Yeah.
But Fred's mom's in Montana too, so she's.
Oh
not-
well,
yeah.
then just
Fred, you remember a picture of Fred, the big.
That's
giant...
that. Okay, familiar. That's that giant, gorgeous donkey. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we don't do a shelter, but remember, if you keep a blanket on your equine like all the time, they will lose their winter fur. So you have to be very careful, or at least they don't grow it. So like our rule of thumb is, I don't have enough blankets for all of my animals, but when we just had like 4 or 5, we would only put them on if we were gonna have freezing rain, or like those 40, those 30 below zeros, maybe 20 below.
If it's really bad out, cold and wet, or both, give them extra food.
When they're eating, their body is digesting the food, creating heat. So it does help some. Having the ability to move around on, being
Picket line.
picket line. Thank you. Oh gosh. What's that word again? Having the ability to move around helps them too. They don't have to just stand in one spot. So they can turn their body, because they will naturally turn their body so that the wind is just hitting the smallest part of them. And if you watch them out in the field, you'll watch, especially on a cold morning, you'll watch them get it so that their whole side of their body can be hit by the sun. And then if it's really windy, they'll turn so just their butt or their head is getting hit by the wind. So if you watch them, they'll totally help adjust for that.
Yep.
So do you guys have any more questions before we go? But we've been, oh, there we go. I don't blanket my boys. I let them get poofy as possible. Sure,
get me
that
as
totally
proud.
makes sense. Yes. I guess if they were to get wet to try to dry them off, but
So
yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. If you guys have ideas for what you want to have more videos about, let us know. Put it in the comments and we will.
Yes,
We
look
got
forward to it.
22 left. Thanks so much for being with us.
All right. Have a good night, guys.
Thatching. It's called thatching. That's cool.
What is it called?
Thatching.
What is called thatching?
It's blanket your animals that are wet and stuff blankets with straw. Oh, so they're putting the straw there to help absorb the water.
Okay.
Thatching.
Okay.
Well, that's
okay.
cool to learn. Thanks for sharing that with us.
Always
All right.
learning.
You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining.